In this module, we are going to discuss on the principles of beneficence and non-maleficence. Let us examine in detail what are these. The principle of beneficence imposes duty of benefit in others in terms of research ethics. The basic principle talks about maximizing the research benefits so that the society is benefited out of the study in terms of advancement of knowledge and scientific temperament. So whatever research we are carrying it out, we need to keep this in mind that we are trying to maximize the benefit for the society at large. Second, principle of non-maleficence, duty to avoid, prevent, or minimize harm to others. So respondents have to be, we need to be careful that we don't impose any harm to the respondents or to the society at large. Take for instance, you are working on a particular virus, and we need to be very careful that this virus is not being transmitted to the participants or to other individuals in the society and so on. So the concept here is the participants should be free from exploitation, either physical, psychological, emotional, and so on. Another facet which we need to talk about in ethics is deception. Now, deception can be thought in two terms: a passive deception and an active deception. A passive deception is omission on the part of the researcher, that is, withholding or omitting information by the researcher, either intentionally or not intentionally, about the research or various facets of the research to the participants. This is not advocated because the consent what you are obtaining from the participant is by virtue of this deception. Active deception is where you are misrepresenting the about the study to the participant. This is important because here you are committing misinformation so that the participant is consent could be obtained. So either passive or active deception is not advocated in the research ethics. Now there are two schools of thought in justified deception. One school of thought is there is nothing called as justified deception. But there is another school of thought which talks about justified deception, when the benefit outweighs the harm to the patients and the benefits of the research could be helping the society at large. At that time, researcher can take a call as regards to whether justified deception is possible. This could be like, though the researcher should consider all possible alternatives before venturing out to this particular method of justified deception. And also, the protocols should be followed. In addition, respondents should be told after the experiment that this was an experiment because we wanted to capture the first emotional response of you, and this is what we have captured. Can we use it for the study? Take for instance, if somebody wants to study the extent of emotional joy upon winning a particular monetary or a non-monetary reward by a by a particular means. So at that time, if you tell the participant, that the reaction would be different. So hence, the harm to the participant here is minimal. However, the benefit what you are gaining is it's larger. However, if there is any harm, either physical or psychological, then this deception should be avoided, justified. However, for justified deception towards the end, a debriefing should be done as regards to why was this deception done, what was the response recorded, and can we use this particular sample for our study. This brings us end to this module.